So here's something that people don't realize. I didn't realize this, and a lot of people that are going through this might not realize that your alarm, when you have an alarm on, if it's a mental or physical alarm, I'm talking more the mental alarms, right? They're able to create a reality in your life that feels very real. There's a lot of smokes and mirrors. It's able to convince you that this is what's happening and this is real, and it makes it feel like it's the most important thing. A lot of smokes and mirrors, right? And when you're aware of that, that's the first start. That's the first step, right? But the second part, this is hard. Even if you're aware of it, you still fall into the trap because it needs to get your attention. And, I used to think, well, it's just generally getting my attention. No, it'll do it. It doesn't just generally get your attention with the feeling of anxiousness or, a feeling of doom, a generalized feeling of doom. Like, no, it'll get specific. Very specific. Because it's in you. The brain is a genius. It'll get specific and detailed. It'll nitpick the things, the little things, the big things that mean a lot to you. It could be your relationship, your marriage, your children, your beliefs, right? Your faith, your dreams, your hopes, your manifestations, right? It can put a lot of doubt into you, make you feel like you'll never get there, that you'll always suffer, that you're a special case. And that feeling, when that feeling's there, it feels very real. So always tell yourself, if you're ever feeling something that's gloom or doom or a reality that you don't prefer, know that that's an alarm. Your brain has sent an alarm to get your attention, to perceive danger because it's in a survival state. See how real that feels? And understand that as much, and I know it's impossible to believe this, know this, as intense as this reality feels right now, know that the opposite can be felt. Right? So whatever it's pulling on today, whatever on the menu, it's usually, for me, I had every day a different item on the menu that it would throw in my face and I would be heartbroken over. Or it would bring some of the 5 big ones, right? Some of the, like, death, health, marriage, religion, beliefs, like some of the big motherfuckers, right? It would throw into my face. And a bunch of little ones in between the weeks, right? Every day be something, it was just constantly getting my attention so that I'm investigating for danger because it's perceiving danger. It's not going to send me daffodils and pictures of pussycats and, beautiful rainbows. No. It has to get specific, and it will. It'll pick little things, go, oh, look at this. We're going to bring this huge. We're going to magnify it, right? And we're going to bring it to him so it gets his attention. So you're like, oh, no, no, right? It has to do that, and it's doing it, and it's working perfectly. It's brilliant. It gets very specific, and it holds on to that, right? And the more you don't want to think about it, the more it stays in that reality. It holds you there, right? It goes, no, where are you going? No, stay here. You're focused. You're really focused on the danger. Do you feel the danger? Do you feel that? I'm using this item that you hold dearly, right? I'm using actually all items that you hold dearly, right? So that you understand how much danger we're in, and I need you to acknowledge the danger. You don't like this feeling? You're trying to run away from it because you don't like it, because you feel guilty, you feel shame. You want to get out of it, you want to feel relief. And when you feel this long enough, you think, okay, that's just my reality. And it becomes, a hard belief. It becomes a core belief, right? And then you just accept it because you're not responding correctly. Right? And then when you start responding correctly by allowing it to be there, letting it do its thing, because we want to turn that alarm off. Because alarms feel real. Alarms can create a movie reality that feels like it's real. That's what alarms can do. They're very powerful. very powerful, right? It can create this reality that you feel inside of you, in here, right? Even your environment gets manipulated to fit that belief. So how do we stop that? And when you're in the moment, it's very hard to believe that we can have that deep feeling one day become meh. I don't care about that. I don't really have a belief about that. I'm neither this way or that way. I don't feel gloomy about it. I don't feel doomy about it. I feel this isn't my way. I don't really care to think about this. And I know it's impossible to believe that we can get there. But understand, when an alarm is turned off properly, when it's turned off, there's no reason for you to be gloomy or to have that belief. You'll be indifferent to it because the alarm is off. You'll be like, what, that? Cool. Okay, yeah, I remember once upon a time that I don't know why, I don't know how the hell did that bother me. Well, I turned off that alarm and now it doesn't affect me at all and I feel nothing about it. I feel, nah. And now I get to pick my beliefs about that. So you can either feel really good and have a totally different belief without it grabbing a hold of you and keeping you there. Because we know if you try to change a belief by replacing it with another belief, right? It won't let you. It doesn't. That's resistance. What you resist persists even harder, right? So how do we turn this alarm off? How do we turn this belief off? Let it do its thing, right? Let it do its thing so that it's not holding on so tight, so that when you let it do its thing, the baseline comes down. When the baseline comes down, this loosens its grip. And then your bucket gets empty, right? And when it totally is loosened its grip and it's kind of like, what's this? I don't know. I'm just, right? This is irrelevant. And then you can decide, well, you know what? I'm going to have this belief here instead. Or no belief. For me, my opinion, no belief is more of a message of safety than having a belief on that. Having a stance. No, what this is going to be like, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to live long. Or, when I die, I die. I don't care. I think I'll be good. I'll be strong. That shows more confidence. When you're like, I think I'll be good. I don't really think about it. That shows more confidence than when somebody's telling themselves, no, I'm strong. I'm good. I'm going to live long. Right? But that is also better than going, when that alarm is on, right? I think the ultimate level is to be totally indifferent, not really have a belief on it, unless it's something that you think beliefs are necessary to have, right? Beliefs have their place, of course. But if a belief is in place because of a survival, I think it's better not to have a belief at all. And just be indifferent and live your life. And this way you can vibrate higher with ease, without that resistance, right? You can tap into that vibration and create your reality and just feel good, right? And if you want to go to the spiritual side of things, people, they say that, in order to manifest what you want, you have to dial in the vibration and feel good. And they talk about, in order to do that, you got to vibrate high. But if you're dealing with a lot of resistance from the alarm system in a state of fight or flight, you're not going to get there. The brain's cock blocking you. It's like, no, you're not going to dial in nothing, buddy. Right? You won't be able to dial in that vibration because the brain's like, no. There's tigers everywhere, buddy. You can't be dialing nothing in. Right? But eventually, when you get to the point where the alarms are quiet and everything's somewhat quiet, right? Then you get to choose, you know what? I'm feeling good. You know, I can vibrate high. I can dial that in and manifest with ease. But the thing is, this is what I've discovered. When the alarms are off, you naturally feel good. You don't have to try to vibrate high. You just are. Because the alarms are off. Your default will just be to feel good. And you're going to find that you're not going to really care to manifest extra things that are materialistic. Really. You're not going to be like, it'd be nice to have a car, but I don't really care if I have one because I'm just happy. Me going to the grocery store is like the best thing in the world. When 10 years ago, everything was a nightmare. And I couldn't even imagine what it would be like not to have this alarm on. Not to feel this gloom reality. And I know it's hard to believe that you'll be able to get to a point where your life isn't run by your alarms, because that's what happens. You are living your life according to what your alarms tell you. And that only invites more alarms, right? And your beliefs. That you can only do this, you'll only amount to that, right? You don't really look forward to being happy because you don't even know what that's like, because you got these alarms screaming in your ear all the time. And then when somebody says, hey, you can have no alarms and feel happy, people are like, what is happy? Well, no shit. How could you vibrate high when you're being distracted by all this noise? Trust me, you will come to a point where you'll get out of the haunting, the darkest, deepest nightmare feelings. And when you get out there, then it's almost like this. Wow. This is a different reality. I feel good. Okay, well, wow, I have motivation. I can create and explore. So if you're if you're telling yourself, I can't even imagine knowing what it's like not to have that noise, feel that, because that is an alarm that's on. How do you know an alarm is on? If you're feeling what you don't prefer, right? When those alarms turn off, you're going to start to move in the direction of what you do prefer to feel. When alarms are on, it's forcing you into a reality that you do not prefer. So in order to live a life that we prefer with ease, with no resistance or noise, how do you do that? Well, you go towards all the things that you don't prefer. You feel uncomfortable. You feel like shit over and over again. You give it its space. You take away the resistance so that you can turn off these alarms, right? And generally, all these alarms will calm down. Your baseline comes down. Your bucket gets empty. And it stops sending alarms. And when it does this, eventually your reality starts to change. You start to wake up a bit. You're like, oh, look at the possibilities. Oh, I feel different. I feel happy. My reality is changing. And I'm starting to feel things that I prefer. And I'm going to start going in that direction. I think I'm happy. So now you can kind of see and be aware of, and you've been living this false reality and you were not aware of it. You were asleep, right? And this journey is a gift to you to awaken, right? To see how the physical brain literally changes your reality. It's crazy how alarms that we have in our mind to perceive danger doesn't just change your health or give you anxiety, but it changes your beliefs and how you view the world. You're viewing the world in a way of a survival. You're surviving your reality instead of thriving in your reality. Those are the polar opposites. And it's all about an alarm system. that's been programmed that way. So imagine what kind of life you will live if you're in the total opposite. Not living a survival program. Paradigm, you can say. Like Bob Proctor likes to say. Right? So, survival paradigm versus, right, the opposite. What kind of life do you think you could live with the alarms on standby? And just, I think you're free. You're mentally, physically, your mind, it's allowing you to be free to explore and to taste the deliciousness of life. And spiritually, you grow. Spiritually, you manifest, you create the reality that you want, you're happy, you're in tuned, you're aligned, mind, body, and soul. Right? You're fully aligned. And that's what we're reaching for.